and welcome to Fit With Us, episode 46, take 2. Gary, how are we today?
Very good, mate. Very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Mate, we are back from a 3-week hiatus. I think it's been 3 weeks. We did try and record this episode last week, but it went completely tits up because Kyle, you were getting some work done in the house, is that right? Or was it
Yeah,
neighbours?
I was in neighbours across the road, but yeah, we had a self-imposed sabbatical where I took matters in my own hands and tried to go to a coffee shop, which sounded like they were playing the drums in the background. So yeah, that didn't work out well.
Aye, it was not a good call. But we're here now. What's been happening, mate? You were in Bordeaux for 2 weeks, is that right? Out of the last three?
Yeah, had a wedding over in Bordeaux. Took Finn his first holiday, albeit the weather was a bit of hit and miss. It was probably worse than it was in Scotland or Ireland, and just like as much as it was warm, it was raining quite a lot of the time, mate. So it's weird to know how to pack for that type of holiday. So it's a strange one, but yeah, enjoyed myself. What's the crack with you? What's been happening?
House stuff, mate. Working, house stuff, just keeping the head down. Trying to get the decorating done right, but trying to find the time to do it is fucking so hard, especially when we just seem to have something on every weekend. Do you know what I mean? And weekends are pretty much the only time that I can get shit done that's not work. So we're getting to the stage now where we're just thinking, just pay somebody to do it.
Yeah, Jen and I, 4 years later, renovating the house, mate, are still having the same issues where, like, you think you can, like, easy jobs you're looking at going, oh, I should be able to have time for that. But then when, like, 2 years have passed and you're still going, I should have time, I think it's probably
Aye.
time to accept that you don't have time to get it done, so just pay somebody, like,
Mate, see that?
yeah,
It's all day.
yeah. The lines are good on it, though.
Oh, it was fucking great, man. We had one of those little laser spirit levels.
Yeah, yeah. Can tell.
Um, oh, it was fun. It was. I'm chuffed to bits with that, but I think that's why I don't want to do the rest of the house because that's so good. I don't want to then make an arse of the rest of it.
Yeah, just leave
Um,
that the way it is. It's fine. Add
that's
character to
it.
the house. Yeah.
This is the only room that's getting decorated. The rest of the house can fuck off. Um, I'll tell you something about those laser spirit levels as well. They are absolutely class, right? But see when you've got it on the wall, when you go and try and put a bit of tape up, the laser obviously disappears because you're standing in front of it. So what a carry on that was, man.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun, mate. But look, you're moving. You're moving. That's the thing. You've got the house, and it's good problems to have.
Oh, it's great, mate. It's great. So yeah, like I say, we're at the stage now where we are hoping to pay somebody, but painters and decorators are so busy at this time of year. Lucky we do know a couple, and we're hoping for a wee bit of a wee homer at the weekends. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. Like, I'm actually on holiday next week as well, so I'm planning on getting some decorating done.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll see what happens come next podcast episode if I've got any decorating done at all.
Keep eyes on. Yeah, you keep eyes on Gary's background.
100%. Here, by the way, did you see the carry on with Jeff Nippard and Mike Van Wyck?
I've not seen a thing. No.
You've no?
No.
Holy shit. So, I'll give you a quick rundown. So, basically, Mike, I don't know if it's Mike Van Wyck or Mike Van Wyk. His second name is Wyke, I think. So, for me, that's Wyke, but you know what? Freaking North Americans, I like to change things. Apologies to any North American listeners. So basically, Mike Van Wyck made a video. He's like a big fucking steroid guy, big massive guy, right? And the video that he put on Instagram was, if science-based lifters know so much, then why are they so mediocre? Basically,
Oh, I think this is ringing a bell. I
aye.
may.
So then Jeff Nippard made a response video. No, like trying to start shit. He basically just said, "I'm a science-based lifter. I finished second in a bodybuilding competition. I set a provincial record for, I think, squatting or benching. So he is like very, very ripped, very strong. And Mike Van Wyck didn't like it and actually physically assaulted him in the gym.
Oh, sorry, I did see this. Like,
That's
I've
it.
seen it out of context, not knowing anything. I've seen the push and I've seen Jeff Nippard's video, but yeah, that's about as much as I've seen.
Aye. So it's causing a bit of controversy in the old fitness world right now, especially between science-based lifters and steroid-based lifters,
I
basically.
was going to say, mate, let's not dress this up. It's a bodybuilder being self-conscious. Who'd have thought? Like, there's, it is what it is. Like, you take 2 seconds, and it's trying not to be judgmental, but you take 2 seconds to look at the guy, and you're like, I mean, he's built a house of cards that are based on injecting olive oil into himself. Like, you're not going to take a lot to dislodge that. So I can understand why he's went going crying again, but sure, he's probably not going to see his balls at a normal size ever again in his life. So
That's the thing, like, no matter how much you disagree with somebody, no matter how much somebody says something that pisses you off, like, it should never resort to physical violence. I mean, this was just a small disagreement. His, Mike Van Wyck's beliefs and thoughts on how to get big are different to Jeff Nippard's, but that then doesn't mean that you turn physical, you get violent. Like, that's fucking mental to me, absolutely mental to me. But he's been banned for the gym, chucked out of the gym, but then you've got all these other kind of steroid junkies and bodybuilders that are backing him up on Instagram and all that. So it's crazy, man. What a time! What a
I,
time!
I don't know what rationale you have to back him up. Like from what you've said, and again, I'm only seeing the like surface level or hearing the surface level, but I mean, it doesn't sound like there's much of an argument there. Like he put out something, it sounds like the retort was pretty decent, and there's not really a leg to stand on there. So I don't know why he's getting his.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And for people that's listening as well, like you might just think it's two gym bros like scrapping. Jeff Nippard is 5'5", 5'5", and this big Mike guy is over 6 foot,
and to
which is crazy. Mike put he basically put his hand on Jeff's neck or throat and then like pushed him backwards. And when he does it with such force. But you see his hand almost cover the whole of fucking Jeff's throat, neck. It's crazy.
yeah, they actually do have it here. Mike, whatever his name is, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. £310. Jeff Nippard's 180. So Mike's almost genuinely double the size, like almost like
Double,
it's double the size. It actually almost is double the size of him.
genuinely. Aye, so Mike's exactly 6 foot and he is humongous. Like when you see this guy, oh, it's WYCK, not WYKE to spell his name, but yeah, he's a big boy and Jeff's small. Shall we say he's I mean he's ripped, he's solid, but he's height wise, he's a lot smaller.
Yeah, I know he's
Crazy.
entitled to retort to it, and again, I don't know the history between them or whatever. Seeing if they're going to the same gym, that there probably is some sort of like there's already a wee bit of underlying currents between them. But I was going to say, I just view bodybuilding and that sport and those type of people as a completely different ballgame. It's like fucking goalkeepers in football. They're not the same as the rest of the people on the field. They do their own thing. Just ignore them. They're all a wee bit mental. They're all a wee bit like at times insecure. They do their own thing. Go and allow them to go forth and prosper. That's it.
Preach,
Yeah,
preach.
yeah, yeah.
Let's. Oh, do you want to hear what I got up to when you were in Bordeaux?
Don't know, mate. Can we say it on the podcast?
We can say it on the podcast, mate. We can say it on the podcast, and it's something that I'm actually going to recommend that everybody goes to at least once in a life. We went to see, you know how the strongmen do, they do like a arena tour called
Right.
Giants. I don't know if you've ever seen it on the TV.
I have. Yeah, yeah.
We went to that live at the Hydro a couple of weeks ago.
I'd say that was
It
good.
was absolutely,
I'd say that was good crack.
mate, it was fantastic. Like we were there for about 4.5 hours. We were there. They only done 5 events, but that's just because it takes so long to get through an event, and it takes so long to set up these events. Because they had the stones there. One of the stones was 200 kilos. They had farmers carries. They had the Yule carry. I think, is it the Yule? Is that what they call it?
Yoke.
450 kilo yoke. 450 kilo
Yeah,
is
man.
insane. They put this shit on their back and walk as fast as they can with it. I think the farmers carries as well was about 140 kilos in each hand,
Yep.
which is insane.
You ever tried lifting an Atlas stone before?
No, no, but I know you need to like round your back and like grip it with your fingers and like almost like drag it up the way.
Yeah, man, it's a strange thing. I'm pretty sure in the old gym I had there was Atlas stones. So it used to be a strongman gym that we bought over, but I had like Atlas
Mhm.
stones outside of it. Now, in fairness, 2 or 3 years of neglect outside, they weren't looking the best of wear on them, but at the same time, like you tried picking them up. And I'm pretty sure there was a 20 or 40, and I want to say 60, but I could be wrong on that. But I tried, I say tried. I could get the 40 and I could roll it and I could pretty much get to a clean and press position where I could get it above my head, albeit my spine still hasn't recovered from that. But see, like the 60, wow. Yeah, I was going to say fair play to them. Like, yeah, tough gravy.
It's mental, isn't it? Because you can, you deadlift over 200 kilo and you're struggling to lift a 60 kilo Atlas stone.
Yeah, man, it's brutal. Like it's just awkward. It's like it's awkward as well. There's a technique behind it. Like see, everything they do is very technique based. It doesn't look it on the
Aye.
TV. It looks like they're just brute forcing it. But no, I'll tell you that there's a lot of technique behind that.
Lot of technique. I just told you a pure lie. I have lifted an Atlas stone before I've done it at Spartan.
Well, there you are.
We had to we had to lift an Atlas stone and carry it round the flag. So yeah, it was quite awkward. And I remember it now because trying to actually lift the stone up, people had dropped the stone from chest height from when they'd been lifting it, and it had created this big divot in the grass. So the Atlas stone was almost buried right into the grass, and I had to kind of claw it out before lifting it up. But yeah, I remember it being very, very awkward as well. In fact, the first event that we seen, it was the dumbbell ladder, and that's basically where they just put one dumbbell on their shoulder and try and push press it above their head. Mate, it started at 80 and went up to 120. 120 kilos on a single dumbbell, and these fuckers were just bang right above their head. Some of them.
Mate, like it's the stability more so than even the strength on that. Like a single arm, try to relax, how stable your joints need to be. Like I would be
Mm.
fucking shaking about like a shitting dog if I was doing that. Like my shoulders be ripped clean off the hinges.
I know, I know. But the current world's strongest man, Mitchell Hooper, have you heard of him? Big Canadian boy.
Nope.
He won it in 4 events, and he was that far ahead that he didn't even do the last event because he's like, I'm just going to save my body for the. I think he's got a Rogue Invitational coming up or something like that. So he's like that. There's no point in me risking injury for no reason when I've already won it. But he set some sort of record. He's won 20 events, Giants Tour events in a row or something like that. He's just like nobody can touch him. I think the last person to beat him in a competition was Tom Stoltman. I could just be I'm speculating here, but I think it was Tom Stoltman, the younger brother of the Stoltmans. But he wasn't there because he's taking a year out because of injury. Believe it or not.
You could be saying any names to me right now, mate, and I'm just going to be going, yep,
You
because
don't know the Stoltman brothers?
mate, I've not got a clue, no.
Come on, man. Two, I think they're fair or Ayrshire, somewhere like that, but they're two big blue nosed bastards. Strongest world's strongest brothers.
I can't say it, I do, mate. No, I really can't.
Come on.
I
You
thought,
fucking
I
get out
thought
your closet and
mate, I am actually a recluse, mate. I don't spend any time on like social media or like I do nothing outside it. Like it might look like that because I post a lot, but I genuinely don't. People always say to me, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, I have seen nothing unless it's like you sending me something directly or somebody sending me it. I've not seen anything.
fair enough. Well, I'll be sending you lots of Tom Stoltman videos from now on, now, mate.
Well, mate, when you had that wee, I feel like we mention every podcast, when you had that wee Eddie Abu period and you sent me like two of his videos, it took genuinely about 3 months and a cleanse of my phone before he stopped popping up on the regular.
He's still fucking going mad just now, old Eddie, old Uncle Eddie.
I don't know.
There was something else that was.
Have you ever seen? I know we're just absolutely just talking shite at the moment, but have you ever seen what is it? Italian Welsh fitness? Have you ever seen that boy?
Aye, yep.
Um, in ways, everything that he stands for does my head in, and clearly is also on that spectrum of like one of those bodybuilders with a wee bit of attitude who like it's the easiest job in the world to tear people down. But it's like watching a car crash. See when he has somebody that I don't particularly like their stuff and he does shred them to bits. I'm like, it's like watching two enemies, and I'm like, this is great watching this happening. Like superb stuff.
Aye,
Yeah, don't necessarily agree with everything he puts it like.
aye. I know. I get some of these things on my explore feed and stuff like that, but I've kind of stopped following people, fitness influencers, trainers, unless I unless I know you or I've met you, pretty much.
Yeah. I remember being at a mentorship event back this year, and there was a group of coaches, and like we're all told to follow each other and all that carry on. So like out of politeness and niceness, I follow them. But I remember having that conversation where there was a guy standing beside us, and I was like, "Oh, I only follow the people in the group that I like or whatever." And I was in my head going, at one point he did follow me. And I was like, I've never seen him actually like any of my stuff or actually speak to us or whatever. Went back on, he'd
Mhm.
unfollowed me. I'm like, it's quite harsh because at the time I'm like, he's obviously just said he didn't like us without actually saying to me he didn't like us. Like, tough times ahead.
You bastard.
Yeah.
Name and shame.
That's fine, mate. I'd done that really petty thing where I realised he didn't follow me, so I didn't follow him back. Just unfollowed him.
One nil to Kyle, but one nil to
But
Kyle.
the games
Right,
that
shall we talk about eh?
I was just going to say the games that you play that nobody else knows that you're playing. But yeah, 1-0.
100%. You're always a winner of your own games as well, aren't you? Shall we talk about something health, fitness related?
Right, well, let's see your sleeves, mate. Shake it out. What have you got up that sleeve of yours?
Well, I'm thinking that we should talk about at the time of this podcast releasing, there is about 8 weeks and 3 days left of the year. And I think we should just talk a wee bit about how to kind of navigate these next kind of 3 months or so. Because it always seem to be the hardest for people to get through. People at this point in the year as well tend to go, oh, I'll just wait until January to get started. But realizing that, there's still 8 weeks of work that you can get done before New Year even comes round. And you can make a big difference in 8 weeks. You can start building better habits and just set yourself up to be in a much better place at the turn of the new year rather than waiting to the turn of the new year. It's like waiting for Monday. We're at that point now where, if it was a week that we had left, we're in that point kind of Wednesday, Thursday, I'll just wait till Monday. That's what the kind of this part of the year feels like. Does that make sense?
Mate, January's the biggest Monday of all Mondays, so it does make sense.
Aye.
It is Thursday trips.
It's Thursday, aye. So yes, how would you go about let's just give fucking hints and tips on how to get started. Like, stop waiting to Monday, stop waiting to New Year, get started now because, like I said, 8 weeks is a long time. You can make a big, big difference in 8 weeks. You might not see massive. Maybe your main goal is fat loss. You might not see massive fat loss goals in 8 weeks, especially because we're coming into the festive season as well, and you know what it's like. A few more shandies than normal, a few more meals out, you're going out with your mates, whatever. But that doesn't mean to say that just because you've got plans over the festive period that you don't do fucking anything with regards to your health, your fitness, your well-being, and getting you towards a better version of yourself.
I would start with why it's important in the first place, because as much as like the actions are going to be applicable, like there's a reason that most people don't do the actions year round. So let's start with going to why it's important. And I don't mean the people often look at the benefit. Like for a lot of people, yeah, you could lose a dress size, you could fit into a better size of jeans, yeah, you could drop a stone between now and Christmas, but all of that's great on the surface level, but it's not enough. I would look at the opposite of it. What happens if you don't? A lot of people think that things don't get better.
Mm.
A lot of things people think that things don't get worse, but actually things aren't getting better right now; they're getting worse. So, actually, between now and December, if anything, if you don't start doing something, things will get worse. And I've actually I've got data from the last 3 years of like coaching. Like this October has been one of our biggest sign-ups we've ever had. Actually, it has been quite astronomically. And with that, there seems to be a lot more people taking those actions. But one of the common themes that crops up, and I'd be very much like this myself, I have gone through too many Christmases where I have felt awful myself, and I've almost, if you look at like the year being a race, I have stumbled across the finish line. I've been like that meme of the guy where it's like he crashes and it's like he's just yards from the finish line because he's got nothing left. I felt like that, and a lot of people feel like that. For me, it's the incentive is I don't want to repeat that process because I know if I continue doing what I'm doing, I'm going to get those same results. So I think often looking at what you don't want for a start. Like, how did you feel last Christmas? Were you happy with that? How did you feel the Christmas before? Were you happy with that? Like, what did you tell yourself you're going to do in January? Did that work out for you? No. Like, what goals have you set yourself? And like, it's not a case of going, oh, have you let yourself down? But there's a reason that that constantly happens. A reason that you keep on making yourself promises and they don't actually come through. It's because you don't action it properly. And a lot of the time, it doesn't need to be complicated. The great things about right now, between now and the end of the year or Christmas, is let's do it logically. Let's look at it in the sense of, like, you really have 6 solid weeks. Let's take away the last 2 weeks, but you've got 6 solid weeks of, like, if you're looking at fat loss, if you're looking at energy, if you're looking at, like, even just gaining momentum in the gym, you've got 6 weeks, and it's probably the best 6 weeks to do it because things tend to be a little bit quieter in the gym. You've not, from a social standpoint, like, there's not, for a lot of people, as many things on as there would be in summertime. Like, definitely not got as many on. That's like December really is when it starts to ramp up. So it's a great time to put those plans in place. So I would say that now is the time to very much look at setting things up.
100%. And just touching on, gyms being quiet and stuff like that just now as well. Like, if you're somebody that's nervous going into a gym, if you're somebody that's maybe never been in a gym before, if you're somebody that's never lifted a weight before, but you quite fancy doing it, why wait to January when the gym is peak busy? Like, it's the busiest fucking time in the gyms. Everybody's in with their New Year's resolutions, especially for the first couple of weeks. Go now, familiarize yourself with the gym, um take time to settle your nerves when it comes to the gym as well. So I would, 100% agree. Now is the time to start. Just start, putting plans in place and action those plans. Oh, sorry, distracted with Bell there. But yeah, mate. It's how would you? I mean, you said you've had like was it a record sign up this time?
Yeah. Like
With
from numbers of new
so
clients, it's been, there's more new clients this month than
aye.
it has been the last 3
So
years.
oh fucking hell, that's amazing. So basically, 6 weeks of hard graft, is that kind of what you've got laid out for everyone? I'm not want to give away your secrets here. Don't want to give
Mate,
away the secret sauce, but
there's no secret. There's no secrets, mate. I have. I was going to say no sleeves and nothing up them, but I do have sleeves. There's just nothing up my sleeve. But with that, like, it's just a case of actually showing people. I think for yourself, has been able to buy into the fact that you can show up for yourself. The reason that a lot of people, in my opinion, fail in January is because they've never actually turned up for themselves the way that, like, and
Mhm.
when that comes in and things are super busy, it's cold, it's dark, and you're still feeling miserable because you know what, things have got worse over the last couple of months before Christmas, you then doubt yourself, your abilities, and ultimately you don't end up doing it, which means a failed promise to yourself is probably the worst feeling of all time. What we want to do right now is actually build momentum, and it doesn't necessarily need to be, and it's a conversation about how aggressive somebody wants to go. Like, if you want to drop 10 kilos like between now and Christmas, I'm not here to tell you it's not possible. I'm just here to tell you there's less wiggle room. But like, for the majority of people, it's just, can we get you, as I said, dropping a dress size? Can we get you like 6 kilos off you? Can we get you feeling better in your skin? Can we start to, like, give you an education around nutrition, like the healthier habits that, like, there's quantifiable results there as well. I would say, like, the gym is a massive tool that can be used, but I don't want people to get tied to the gym. Like, I think right now is a great opportunity to go to the gym and start resistance training and doing the things. But with that said, like, I look around at the gym and, like, I really try my hardest not to do this. Years and years of trying not to do it, but like, when sometimes the gym's busy and you look around and you see everybody doing things in the gym, it's actually, like, I feel people, I don't want to say are getting worse at it, but like, there's so much conflicting stuff on Instagram telling you what to do. It's almost like I'm looking around going, I understand why nobody stays at this, because nobody has a fucking clue what they're doing, and it's like, it's
Aye.
so overcomplicated, poorly executed. And a bugbear of mine is, like, every other industry you pay money to get something done right, whereas I think a lot of people try and do things by themselves in health and fitness. And I'm like, it's not the best way to do that. However, you will get there in the end, providing you stick with it, but that's sticking with it. And right now is the time to stick with it when things are quieter and explore that. So I think just actually being clear about when there's not an emotional like not as much emotion right now, because there will be tons of emotion in January about how you're feeling. You're doing things from a place of probably feeling quite shite. Whereas right now you're actually doing things from a different place. Whilst there's less emotion right now, put some logical steps down as to what you expect from yourself and what you actually can do on a daily basis. Now, whether that be pulling the number out of the sky, 10,000 steps, not saying that that's what you have to do. There is nothing magic, as we've discussed many times about 10,000 steps. But if that's a case where you're doing 10,000 steps or 2 half-hour walks per day, or you're doing 2.5 litres of water per day and keeping protein in each meal, or logging your food from now till Christmas, or whatever that is, it's a really good opportunity for you to start actually putting in place the things that you're promising to yourself that you're going to do up until the week before Christmas. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And then by the time New Year does come round, then you're a lot better equipped than you would be if you just didn't bother your ass doing anything. Because you've started to, build those better habits. You've started to take action a lot earlier than you would have if you do wait until after New Year. But yeah, like try and make it as easy for yourself as possible as well, and don't look at it like you said, they're 10,000 steps. Like some people cannot manage 10,000 steps. I mean, I don't want to say physically impossible, but if you work a desk job and you're sitting at your desk for 8-9 hours a day, like 10,000 steps is it's a hard thing to ask for. I mean, it's easy for somebody like me or you, Kyle, who, well, I'll use me as an example. I work in a gym. I get steps without even trying to get steps. But if you're sitting at your desk, don't go for 10,000 steps. Maybe track your steps for a week. Add 500 to 1,000 every single day. Just make or take easy. Oh my God, my fucking brain. The caffeine's not kicked in yet.
I 100% agree. However, I also would challenge people to go, you are capable of more than what you think you are. And right now is a time to prove that you are capable of more than what you think you are. If you're sitting at home right now because it's dark nights and going, oh, I'm watching 5 hours of Netflix in a row and you've seen every TV programme on, you do have time to get a half-hour walk done. You do have time. I'm not saying anything's for free, but realistically, the only thing, if you're not investing in yourself to some degree, and I'm not like making this sound like I'm touting you for me for coaching or Gary for coaching, but what I'm saying is, yeah, that would help with that. Like, there are things that are available to you that weren't available to you years ago, and that could be like walking pads that you have like beforehand. Buying a treadmill for the house, like, firstly, it's clunky, it's expensive. You're probably talking the guts of £1,000 to get a decent one. Whereas now you can get a walking pad for 150 quid. Like, tell me there's no avenues. Instead of spending a gym membership, let's maybe actually look at just getting you moving throughout that from now till Christmas, like actually getting a walking pad, just doing a wee bit there. Like, tell me you can't do that whilst watching Netflix. Like, you're full of shite. Like, as much as 10,000 steps is, and again, you're right, the average office workers get between 2.5 to 4,000 steps per day, sometimes at a stretch. There's nothing to say you can't get 7,000 or 8,000 steps, but I think just actually challenging yourself to get that done. There's nothing worse than when somebody says to me that they've got 3,000 steps in a day and they couldn't get more. I'm like, yeah, there's busier people than you in the world and they managed to make an effort, so you absolutely can. You've put self-limiting beliefs on there, so 100% can do those things.
Aye, that's good. Very, very good point. And walking pads are absolutely class now as well. By the way, most of them you can slide them under your couch, so they don't even take up any space in the house. Slide them under the couch, pull it out, stick a Netflix show on, and that's you. Away you go for half an hour. And I don't know the speed that most walking pads go to. Do you?
10 kilometers an hour mostly, which is actually a decent. You could run at that. Like, you could run that.
And I say that's fucking running speed. Like, so yeah, if you're walking for half an hour, say the average person walks 1,000 steps every 10 minutes, easy. Extra 3,000 steps without even trying by watching an episode of The fucking Office on your Netflix. So yes, agreed. Yeah. You do have time. You just need to find it. Sitting scrolling on your phone, look at your screen time. I know we spoke about this before. Look at your screen time. See if you can half your screen time and walk for the other half. There you go. Easy. 3,000-4,000 steps.
I think with all that, we don't want to come across like Captain Killjoy when we say all this, and realistically, we are as guilty of sitting on a phone or watching Netflix at times. But the point to that is it needs to be done in a controlled manner, and I think with that, like, a lot of people listening to that will know where the issues lie. It's just the fact that we're comfortable with it, and actually, if anything, and enabling that behaviour and listening to the people around you enabling that behaviour. Like, a lot of people don't feel fine in their own skin, but then they speak to the people around them, and it's like, oh, you're fine. You don't need to be doing that. Like, I mean, I've had that for
Yeah.
years. Like, I coach a lot of coaches, and they're like, oh, why do they need a coach? They're in good shape, and I'm like, it's fine that you don't understand, but don't put your opinion in it. That's okay with that. But like, a lot of people are surrounded by people who, in all honesty, they wouldn't trade positions with. Like, I've had advice from people. I'm like, right, I'm not taking advice from you because I really wouldn't trade places with you, and that's okay. Someone's beliefs are their beliefs, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're, it's very difficult, and where the limitation lies. If you're sitting at home and everybody else around you is sitting at home and it's very, very comfortable because it's cold outside and you've got the heating on, like, it's very difficult to then break from that. But right now is a great opportunity to prove that you can show up for yourself. I would argue right now, and have a bit of data to prove this. If you aren't going to make the effort to put into yourself right now at this time of year, then it's not going to happen in January. So let's not kid on this. Like, that's right now. Prove it to yourself. Like, you don't need to move the mountains, but realistically, by the time that you get to Christmas, you'll have the belief that you know how to get into shape and what to do. You can absolutely navigate 2 weeks of Christmas whilst eating Christmas dinners and fucking whatever you do at Christmas. Like, you can eat like an unsupervised child at a buffet for all it's worth. But like, when it comes back to like the 5th of January, whatever, you're not going to be going in there like feeling awful because you've had essentially 12 weeks of doing absolutely fucking nothing, eating tea cakes whilst watching, as you said, The Office, which controversially I've never actually seen The Office, but yeah.
Mate, we only started watching it this year. Like the first, I know we're taking a bit of a left turn here, but we will come back to it. The first season was awful. I could not get through it. I was cringing like fuck. But now I'm absolutely hooked. So highly recommend it if you've not watched it. I mean, get a walking pad and you can watch it.
Okay, well, let's go into it then. What's the big levers that you would pull at this point if you were to give some people some actual solid quantifiables? Because as much as we've talked about this is the time to show up for yourself, what advice would you give them to be able to do stuff between now and Christmas?
What advice would I give them? 100%. Just keep it simple. Like you don't need to overcomplicate it depending on what your goal is. But I would always say just start logging your food. Start tracking your food. When you start tracking your food, you end up unconsciously holding yourself more accountable. You start to maybe restrict how much shite you tend to eat. But that's only if you are super honest with yourself. I don't mean start tracking your food and then once you get torn into the Halloween sweets that are lying about the house, then you stop tracking and start again the next day. Hold yourself accountable and track absolutely everything that passes your lips. Hitting a step target as well. It doesn't need to be a number. It could be, Kyle mentioned it earlier, timed walks. So going out for 2 half-an-hour walks or 3 20-minute walks per day. It doesn't need to be, like I say, a specific number. Focus on getting more, just getting more of your fruits and veggies in. Like again, very, very simple. I know you probably hear it all the time, but it's effective and it works, and that is why you hear it all the time. Get more fruits and veggies in with every single meal if you can. And then yeah, start doing some sort of movement. Get to the gym. If you can get to the gym, get to the gym. If you don't feel comfortable getting to the gym, don't feel like you have to, but even just doing some sort of kind of resistance work at home. You can use your body weight, you can use dumbbells that you can buy, you can use kettlebells. It doesn't necessarily need to be in the gym, but if you do some form of resistance work a couple of times a week, you don't need to be jumping about your living room like a pansy. That is cardio, not resistance work, but just just doing something that puts your body and your muscles under a wee bit of stress. It's going to help you improve and set you up for actually getting like kick started in January rather than waiting to January and trying to figure it out then. And don't be scared to make mistakes as well. Like don't be scared to fuck up because it's trying to get yourself started, especially without having a coach and somebody to guide you along the way. Like you're going to make mistakes, even with a coach, you're going to make mistakes as well. But at least with a coach, you've got somebody that you can bounce off of. But if you're on your own, then yeah, once you make a mistake, you get in your own head, and once you're in your own head, it's a fucking difficult place to get out of. But yeah, don't be scared to make mistakes. Like mistakes happen. I make a mistake fucking daily, probably. I was making mistakes all the time when I was doing my photo shoot prep. It happens. Like you're a human being, you're going to make mistakes. Emotions are going to get in the way sometimes as well. So yeah, don't be scared to make mistakes. But as long as you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep fucking putting one foot in front of the other, that is all you have to do. You might not be, you might have a goal in your mind, like I'm going to work hard for 6 weeks. I want to lose a kilo a week, 6 kilos after 6 weeks. Again, I'm not going to tell you that is uh, like you can't do it. Like you said, Kyle, there's a lot less wiggle room. But you, even if you don't get that 6 kilo in 6 weeks, if you only get four, say only, I'll reframe that. If you get four, then rather than saying it as like I only got four out of my six, reframe it as I got fucking four. Like looking at it, rewording it differently to be a more positive outcome rather than feeling like you're almost letting yourself down in a way as well. Does that make sense?
100%. I would actually say, and again to back you up on that, 4 kilos for most people would be massive.
Oh,
And
it's massive weight, massive.
if you've done that between now and Christmas, like let's say even over the 2 weeks period of Christmas, where as I said, you did just go a bit Pete Tong or whatever, you wanted to go a bit mental with it, it's very, 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 very unlikely that you are going to put on more than 2 kilos worth of body
Mm.
weight. And realistically, anything on top of that's probably going to be water, digestive stress, whatever. You'll have that off you in a week, like knowing how to do things as well. And just on the like making mistakes, I'll give you a real time message I received this morning at 8:59. This is from a client that's been
Excellent.
on my Instagram as losing a lot of weight and whatever. So this is to show you that you can make mistakes. So 8:59 today, I fucked up. 9 o'clock, I messaged back saying, "Tell me more." I had 2 ham and cheese toasties, 4 cocktail sausages, and 2 slices of tiger bread. And I just put laughing faces and went today, question mark. Because I was like, that's quite impressive for 8:59 in the morning. That is some bread.
I was thinking the same, man. Holy shit.
So yesterday, I didn't add them to my fitness pal because I didn't even know what to put them as. So I was a voice message after that. I just left them. But I was like, look, let's not worry about it. Let's log it as 1,100 calories, I think I said, 35 grams of protein. Put it in yesterday, but let's draw a line because a version of you in the past, and I know this, would have literally ruled out today's Friday. It would have been I fucked it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, start again Monday. But there's 2 things. That person's come to me with an intent as to, well, I've made a mistake and I want to address that. We're not sweeping that to the side. We're addressing it for what it is. Yes, on a perfectly lovely graph throughout the week, will that look like there's a big spike in terms of nutrition? Yeah. But will there probably be a spike in terms of our weight today? I've now outed it as a woman, but there you are. Yes, there probably. But with that said, like if we put the things in place right now, it's not that we need to like limiting the damage isn't making up for it. Limiting the damage is making sure that that fuck it button doesn't get pressed, and ultimately we get through
Yeah.
the weekend that things are just as normal because you will be able to absorb mistakes. But it's like the atomic habits things. You are what you do. And if you constantly press the fuck it button every single time there's the smallest amount of resistance, you are going to be essentially the fuck it button. You're the living and breathing fuck it button. And that's not the person you want to be. You
Mhm.
want to be able to show up for yourself. So this person has shown up for themselves by admitting they've made a mistake. Harder to do without a coach. Again, not selling that to you, but it's more of a
Yep.
case of showing up for yourself, having somebody even in the household that you hold yourself accountable to. It's different, and as Gary, you know, again, with having a partner in terms of you need to be several different things to several different people. So the person in the house might also come to you like it's very difficult when you're like, oh, I really crave a Chinese tonight. For them to go, we're not getting a Chinese tonight because you said, because you know what, they might
Yeah.
actually crave a Chinese and lead you to temptation. But at the same time, if you said more so, I feel a certain way, I want to try and do something, I'm doing this because of the way I feel, you'll get buy-in from the people around you, far more likely to get buy-in from the people around you that can help hold you to some level of accountability, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%, man, and very, very well put as well. There was something that I was going to touch on there quickly that you had mentioned. Honestly, mate, this caffeine is not affecting me. I'm running on about 4 hours sleep. I don't know how you're feeling. How's the wee man, actually? I didn't even ask.
Do you know what, mate? I've had one good night's sleep in the last 14 days because my data
Excellent.
But do you know what? I was in the red constantly. Like it was just red, 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 red. Every time I looked at my notification, it was like my Whoop bands tell you that what time you should go to sleep to catch up on. Sorry, I'm just plugging my laptop in. But they tell you
Very good.
what time you should go to bed at to catch up on your sleep. And mine was just getting earlier and earlier and earlier. I think it got to the point where it's like you need to go to bed at 2:30 in the day to try and catch up on your sleep. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah, and you know most ironic thing? So my whip band has probably picked up data for the last 2.5 years, and it's probably missed one day. The night I actually got a really good sleep and I woke up because even Jen noticed she's like, "You actually seem all right today." I'm like, as much as I got probably about 6 hours and 50 minutes sleep, I actually feel that it was decent. I was ready for looking at my whip band, going, "You've done a good job." No data tracked. I don't know how. It was on my wrist the entire time. It just didn't pick up any data. I'm raging.
Fucking raging, but you felt good.
Felt
So
good.
I just what you were talking about there, just briefly, it's came back to me now. So you were talking about, doing stuff for you. You need to do what you want to do to make you a better, healthier, happier, version of yourself. And I think that's a very, very important message for everybody to understand, because the reality of it is, or the harsh reality of it is, no one is going to put you first before themselves. You need to do that. You need to take the bull by the horns and put yourself first, your own health, your own happiness. And that might sometimes mean being selfish, which I think a lot of people do tend to struggle with as well, is just being selfish in the moment sometimes. The guilt can really eat away at them for being selfish. But if you can rewire your brain to accept that sometimes you do need to be selfish, you will then be able to make better decisions for yourself. And not only are you going to get that better version of yourself, but so is everybody else around about you. So for you to be selfish in that moment, the bigger picture, the grand scheme of things, it's actually going to work out better for not just you, but everybody else around about you as well. That makes sense?
100%. I'm going to give you another example of this. I have a guy. I'm going to be careful about how much information I give because there is some delicate stuff here. I have a guy who has lost a significant amount of weight, and there was something that happened in his life fairly recently. And to be fair, if we went into detail about it, it's going to affect every single one of us. Like it's just that I was quite dramatic. But with that, clearly, on terms of this guy, had a fair bit of weight to lose and had to because he was at risk of being like an early grave. But with that, lost a significant amount over a period of a year. Still has a bit to go. But over the last couple of months, like you can see that the inputs don't match the output. So there's definitely something that was missing there. Got a conversation with him and he was kind of saying, like, yeah, a lot of the emphasis right now, I feel like I need to look after family, this, and this because of this thing that's happened. Um, and actually, when we unpacked it, it was actually his family didn't want him to do any of that. Like he was overbearing. It was a case of
Yeah,
his family were actually worried about him, the fact he wasn't looking after himself again. I had to have the conversation with him, going, "Your version of looking after yourself right now is actually going back out and doing the things that you need to do, the things that were losing weight in the first place. Because you know what's going to happen. It's like if you don't look after yourself right now, and we've got data to show this, it's only going one way, and that way is you're not going to be here. And I mean, it could be as early as 5 or 10 years time. And like, as much as you think that you're doing the right thing right now, and I understand the reasons for you doing that, like right now, you really need to. Your way of looking after the family is looking after yourself. And I think
yeah.
actually laying things down in black and white as to what are the things that are going to need move the needle the most. It's the airplane analogy. It's like when your gas mask or your air mask comes down, it's like putting your own air mask on first because you're
Yeah.
going to be useless to anyone else if you're not looking after yourself.
100%. And yeah, that was probably something that something that was difficult for him to hear, but something that he needed to hear. But some people don't have that luxury of having like us, like a coach or someone close to them, in the family saying, "Look, you need to do this for yourself, so we can then get a better version of you, and we can all reap the rewards of that." Um, having worked with so many people, especially in like kind of 12x over the last year, that's one thing that I noticed. I would probably say the most about everybody that's in the community is they are always putting other people before them, and then it means that their own health is deteriorating rapidly. Like I don't mean they're just sleeping in some mornings. I mean like their health is rapidly deteriorating, and it's got to a point where they're like, I don't know how to. reverse it. I don't know how to come back from it. And that is just purely by not being selfish in certain moments. Um, Speaking of, sorry, on you go.
I was gonna say it's super harsh, but like we're also in a position where everybody has. I think from 10 years ago, the average mean weight that most of us have on us is 9 kilos more than 10 years ago, which is a
Oh,
kilo a year than 10 years ago, and that's average. So if you're looking at that over the course, it's like again, it's going one way. But there's a reason for that, and it's because of norms as well. Like you get used to the people around you saying like their standards then become your standards, and with those standards, it's hard to break those standards. So like when you feel a certain way and you see the actions of other people, it becomes very normalized because you do follow the pack. Like it's ultimately, I mean, the studies done on that with like I think it's Nazi Germany, where it's like people look at it now and go, "Oh, how did they get to that point?" They got to that point because it was a slow build up of certain things, where it became normal, 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 to the point where when they were doing these horrific acts, it was actually the normal for them. It wasn't shocking. If they started with those horrific acts, it wouldn't be shocking. But from a health and fitness perspective, some of the shocking acts that you're doing and not looking after yourself have become normal, and you don't realize how unhealthy they are. You are not designed to sit at a chair for 12 hours a day, go home and eat calories that are about 3,000 calories whilst
aye.
decompressing by watching another fucking screen. As harsh as that sounds, you do need a bit of a wake up and go, if you don't start doing something for yourself, and you can start low, because right now, ironically, like you're going to be super responsive to going a half-hour walk. You're going to be super responsive if you decide, like all of a sudden you just skip one of the chocolate bars that you're having in the evening. Like I know at times you're hearing MyFitnessPal and you're hearing 10,000 steps and you're hearing go to the gym 4 times a week and you need to do this and you need to do that. You fucking don't. You just need to actually start showing up for yourself a little bit differently. Let's take the emotion out of it. Common sense. Don't fucking sit down all day. Move a wee bit more. Eat a bit better.
Yes. And that's it. That's all you have to do in these next kind of 6 to 8 weeks. Eat a wee bit better, move a wee bit more, and I can guarantee you, in fact, we can both guarantee you that you're going to be in a much better place come Christmas, come New Year. There was fucking hell, there's something else that I was going to say there. Speaking of being selfish, I am, for the first time this year, taking 3 full days off, mate, because it's got to that point now where, and this is probably why my brain's being the way it is right now. It's got to that point where you can just feel you'll understand where I'm coming from as well. But I know a lot of people feel like this as well. Like they take so much on at once, and burnout happens, and it's got to that stage for me at the minute. So I am being selfish for 3 days. I'm going to take 3 full days off. I am being selfish in the moment, so I can then provide a much better service for people that are listening, for people that that pay me to provide them a service. So yes, I'm going to feel bad and guilty for those 3 days, but I know the outcome is going to be so much better than the guilt that I'm feeling just now. Does that make sense?
What are you doing to show up for yourself in those 3 days to make sure it's worth it?
uh Lying in a hot tub.
Good.
No, we're going up to the Highlands, so the hiking boots are getting packed. I'm leaving my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I'm just going for walks, mate.
Right, so when we do this again next week, we can hold you accountable for showing up for yourself and not being a
Yes.
hypocrite by doing something else, by saying that you were working anyway. So we can look at next Friday, we'll have a conversation saying that you did action what you're saying. Are we going to say that that's what's going to happen?
Let's do it.
Right, cool. Sound. Right, Gary's a man of his word, and if he's not, we're going to all call him a shite bag. Comments, whatever. Spotify, don't even know if
I
he
am showing up for myself. I'm being fucking selfish. I'm showing up for myself. And I can promise you that next Friday I will be more with it.
Cool.
100%.
Class.
I said Friday, I meant Saturday. Sunday. When does the podcast go out? Sunday? Fuck.
Mate, you just get yourself a stronger coffee for next Friday when we record it for it to go out Sunday.
Jesus Christ, man. Anyway, we do need to wrap this one up there, guys. Thank you all very much for listening. Hopefully, he's made it to the end. I know we were talking utter shite at the start of the podcast, but yeah, we had 3 weeks worth of stuff to catch up on. And yeah, Kyle, where can they find you?
Kyle at bio. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, I've had it.
Yes,
Uh,
come on. You've been having that coffee I've been having this morning.
you know what, mate? I relaxed when you said we were done. I was like, I don't need anything else. Kyle underscore biofitness1 on Instagram. That's the place. Yep. Gary, where can they find you?
Instagram at gmac_health and fitness. Before we sign off as well, thank you as always to Dave and Toby for the quality tunes.
I was just about to say that, mate. I was actually remembered this time to say that. So cheers, David Toby, for that. Right, over and out. We are back.
Bye.
Bye.